This is sports stuff with what? No Jim.
No, Jim, just Muff.
No Jim, just Muff with
It's
Nate
like a great
and
evening.
Alex.
Sports stuff with just Muff
And friends.
and friends.
I was going for the pun.
What'd you say?
But I was going for the pun, not that Jim's not here.
What'd you say before the pun? What was the pun? Sorry.
No Jim, just Muff.
Today
The opposite of a
is
sausage party.
Tuesday, September 17th, and we're never going to know the answer to how many coaches Jim wants to fire this week. Although we can probably
I don't think double digits yet.
No, not this week. We can probably speculate on a few, which we'll definitely consider as we get through the NFL and the college football slate. Jim is not here this week because there is the the itis and the illness in the Compton household.
Ooh, need some tussin.
They need all of the tussin. But we are going to break down college football, the NFL, and give out our winners and losers of the week, including Jim's, because he did give us his winner and loser of the week in the college football world. As always, thanks to everybody interacting with our content on the socials at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Ding ding. I was like, what do I do?
That was good, Nate. That was a good impression of Jim. I like that. Shout out to any new listeners. Thanks for all the support. I gave out a couple hats over the past couple weeks to some growing listeners as well as some old guests from times past. But we have a public service announcement. If you're going to be on the socials, if you're going to be venturing into things like Instagram Live, just make sure that you're sure what's going on in the background. I would like a pledge from everybody, Alex, Nate, that the podcast account's not going to have a Shannon Sharp moment.
Can't promise.
I mean, I can't control that. I do not have access to the podcast account.
I think I do somewhere, and I still maintain can't promise. I don't want to break a promise to you, Muff. I'll try really hard not to.
All right. Well, you can try really hard. I guess that's all I could ask. You can try. Just try. Try
There
your
will be a
best.
solid effort not to Shannon Sharp it.
Okay. Don't forget our weekly betting episodes coming out on Thursdays. Get ready to build up that bank account. Jim's in charge of the guest pickers. There may be another one this week. TBD. Noah was last week. Noah
Wait, Nate, do you have a game on Tuesday? Wait,
Wednesday.
Wednesday this week?
I do.
Oh, never mind.
At freaking 7 p.m.
Middle
Ooh.
school
Yes.
night game under the
I'm
lights.
assuming that there must be a soccer game before it.
I was gonna say that definitely precludes you.
Yeah. So we may have a guest picker. We'll find out.
At some point, I feel like if we get to week 6 and Nate still hasn't been able to give us a guest pick, we just get one from him.
That's also probably a good option. Yeah. Strike while the iron's hot, maybe with the Bucs right now, Nate.
Yeah, I'd say for sure, but they got to get off the injury bug, which we'll get into.
We will. Let's get into NFL Week 2. Before we get into the games that were and the game that is, kickers have been successful on 89.4% of field goal attempts from 50 yards or longer through 2 weeks. This is the most number of kicks I can recall ever being from 50 out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like every time I check a box score or a game cast to see what the scores are, and it's like every time I see it's like 55-yard field goal, 57-yard field goal, 55-yard field goal. I'm like, what the heck? It's like, I know they want steroids out of the game, but you might want to test your kickers.
Kickers maybe next on the slate, and I think it's impacted a lot of fantasy football.
Yeah, for sure. Because all of a sudden, these kickers, if you can do over 50 yards, is wildly important.
Yeah, it's not necessarily just getting a guy that's going to make a lot of kicks or attempt a lot of kicks.
The big balls.
Mm-hmm.
Big balls. Speaking of big balls, we have any additional thoughts on the dynamic kickoff after week 2?
Just keep putting the ball in the end zone.
It's going to force the NFL's hand to make another adjustment or just take the kickoff out of the game?
Just move the kickoff back.
Kickoff back,
Yes.
not the touchback forward.
No.
Okay. I mean,
unless you like severely change it. I mean, every kicker is capable of putting the ball in the end zone.
mhm.
So you've got, in my opinion, just move it back. It's like even if you want to keep this dynamic kickoff formation, fine, but you just got to move them back. Make it more challenging on the kicker.
Alex?
I don't mind backing up the kicker. I would rather see him back up the kicker. Out of the two options to fix, back up the kicker.
Mhm.
So they're kicking off what right now, the 30, 35, 35?
I think it's a
Where they kick
35.
from?
Yeah, I think
Back
it's a
off, back, kick
35.
off on the 25.
Yeah, I mean, even in high school, we kicked from the 40.
Okay. Yeah. I get it.
So wait, you're saying move back though, right?
Yeah, I'd say move it back to like the 20.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
I was like, wait a
20.
second. 40.
If you want kickoff returns, move the ball back to the 20.
Old man on the porch and he says, I would notice less of a difference if you move the kicker back than if you move anything else, because there's already a lot going on.
True.
Wait,
That's-
me and my dad discussed this. We were in an argument, not an argument, but like a discussion. So we know now there's all these new NFL rules. What's the touchback in college again?
25-yard line.
I thought so too. I said that, and he's like, "Oh, I think it's like the 35-yard line now." I'm like, "It's not."
It is not. All right, first game of the week was on Thursday as the Bills take down the Dolphins in a, let's say, a somber game. The mood was very somber, I think, all said and done. We had Tua with his third concussion in 2 years in the NFL from, of all people, Damar Hamlin's chest.
Yeah, I mean, that was awkward. Like, just get the hell down.
So Tua got that concussion. What is the word, Alex? The fencing this is the term I've seen thrown around all over the place. Whether that's a legit term to be tossing around like that or not. Medical human being. What do you think?
Well, fencing? What would you say the word was?
Fencing. It was like whenever you're
like when his
you
fingers,
tense up.
arms
Yeah,
like all tense up and don't move.
yeah.
That's posturing.
Posturing.
But posturing is usually like somebody's brainstem is herniating. No, I've never heard that before. Fencing, to be honest. In the medical world, we call it posturing if someone has like a massive brain bleed
Mhm.
and they're like doing this permanently. It's called posturing, and it's not a good thing. But I would not say that Tua was posturing in this situation. However, I also am not really sure, honestly, that I have heard the term fencing used in medical circles.
It's all over the internet. The internet doctors have
Well, maybe I'm
used the
wrong.
term.
Maybe there is
Like whenever he touches an electric fence and zaps himself.
Maybe that's where it comes from. I don't know. AB Antonio Brown even said that Tua should rethink football, and I quote from an X post, a Twitter post from Antonio
sure.
Brown: "Concussions, not something to mess with."
Let's back up. Do we really think anybody in the world should be taking advice from AB?
I feel like if there's anybody that should be taking advice
I'm
on
not
this
even saying
particular
that-
situation, it's probably him.
I'm not even saying at this point that he's wrong in this situation. I'm saying let's look at the source.
I don't even think AB's the one that put that out there.
I think that his advisors at some point were like, we have no control over him. Let's make him say something about this. And maybe it'll take away some of the weird shit he's done. Because it'll bring to light the fact that he got hit in the head one too many times.
I mean, it probably only took him 6 hours to do something silly again, so it's okay. From a football perspective right now, the Bills, albeit against a Tua-less Dolphins squad, are looking like a bit of a wagon at the moment. James Cook is doing well, and even without Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, their top pass catcher and another one of their top pass catchers, they seem to be moving right along with the Josh Allen train. Bills, real contenders?
Yeah, they look good.
I mean, they got to put something together in the postseason. It's the same song and dance until they prove otherwise.
Speaking of the same song and dance, the Cowboys take on the Saints, and the Saints put a whooping to the boys, 44-19, as Alvin Kamara has 4 touchdowns And the Saints jumped out early in this one, 35 points, I believe, in the first half, and did not look back.
So
Cue
really,
the Stephen A. Smith tweet.
so primarily because we've gone from the Dolphins to the Cowboys, I have to mention something. So in the world of fantasy, sometimes people have it rough. Sometimes people get hurt. I have never seen a team quite like my Aunt Missy's in our family league that we have right now. And I just want the loyal listeners. This is my shout out to her. She had Tua, not good. Isaiah Pacheco, out about 8 weeks. Keenan Allen, not good. AJ Brown, out. And Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys, out.
Yep, that's a whole lot of
Peas and
bad.
peas to her fantasy team. She tried. I mean,
She tried until there was no use trying.
at this point, and Debo Samuel's doubtful.
He's going to be out for at least a couple weeks at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the Cowboys, does this say more about the Cowboys and how not bad, but how not great they are, or at least they're not as great as we expected, as we thought they were after week one? Or does this say something about the Saints maybe actually being a solid squad?
That's what I was just gonna say. Different angle. Saints aren't bad.
Yeah, I think from a Bucs standpoint, this is putting that oh shit thought in there with the Saints, as they've scored on every possession they've had it so far this season.
Kamara looks back to like a several years ago form, and Derek Carr is clicking along. You have Chris Olave, who's a good young wide receiver. I think the Saints are a good team. I think they'd have won this game either way. I think the Cowboys are a little overrated, and I think the Cowboys played bad this past week. So I think between them being a little overrated and playing bad, and the Saints being a better team than we expected, that's where you get this score.
Next, the Bucs take down the brand new Lions, 20-16. Nate, take it away.
So I was score checking constantly during my peewees on this, and this outcome not going to surprise me. So when I looked at the box score, the Bucs just got completely dominated in every category on offense, and they were outgained by like 200 yards. There was a 5-sack differential. Aiden Hutchinson sacked Baker 3 times in the first quarter. Not a recipe for winning football, but somehow, some way, the defense came through, bend but didn't break philosophy. Got 2 interceptions. Lost Vita Vea, who's going out day to day with an MCL sprain, which anybody else MCL sprain, you hear weeks, but with him it's only days. I don't get it, but good news. Running back Rashad White suffered a groin injury, but was able to stay in the game. Winfield was out for this game. Someone else was out. I can't remember off the top of my head who was out for this game, but just like Alex was talking earlier about relatives, fantasy teams, like the Bucs injury bug is already starting to creep in.
Yep, but you're 2-0, Nate. You are 2-0.
We are.
Penn State. Moving on to an unlikely, maybe the most unlikely of winners from this past week, as the Packers take down the Colts 16-10 in Malik Willis's first start as a Packer, taking over for Jordan Love. Coming into this game, Malik Willis had a 39.0 passer rating in his 3 previous starts that were all with the Titans. For reference, a 39.6 passer rating is what a QB would have if they spiked the ball every play. So his QB rating was worse than if he spiked the ball every play in his 3 previous starts.
Yet they traded for that.
But it did not matter who was under center in this one, as the Packers just ground and pound all game long. And the Colts apparently did not realize that Malik Willis could not throw the ball and let the Packers run over him all day.
Yeah, when I was listening to McAfee on repeat today, that's what they were saying. It's like, how do you not know that they're going to run the ball? And how can you not at least put 8, 9 in the box and stop it a little bit?
Yeah. Nate found probably the most interesting thing from this game.
So I don't even know when this game it was, but I made sure to send a video to everybody. I almost said snapper using football terms. The center pukes right on the ball right before he snaps it. And later in the press conference, post game, LaFleur was asked about it, and because he apparently asked Malik Willis, "Why didn't you just throw the damn ball away on that play instead of taking a loss?" And he goes, "Coach, so and so puked on the ball."
That would have been more of a reason to throw it away.
Yeah, but could you imagine all the spatter coming off that ball? You don't know where that thing's going.
I'd have spiked it. I'd be like, nope.
Nope. Not today.
Oh.
Not
today.
But it was literally like right before the snap, so it's like you have that split moment. It's like, as an official, it's like, wait, what did I just see? But before you know it, he snaps the ball. You don't even have a chance to catch.
Okay, I guess we're good to go.
I feel like at a professional level, you're not like, well, a kid threw up, so we have to stop for a minute.
These are grown-ass men. They'll figure it out. Next, we have the Jets getting their first win of the season. First win with Aaron Rodgers at the helm as they take down the Titans and Will Levis 24-17. Will Levis, a bit of the same from last week with costly turnovers. And the Jets and Aaron Rodgers get the win.
Yeah, there was even a segment, or not a segment, but like a clip that came out. I think it was after a fumble of Levis that got recovered by the Jets, and the coach is coming down the sideline like, "What the hell are you doing?"
I saw that too. It's not good for Will Levis right now in Titan land.
Bad.
But something of interest is that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a Netflix docuseries called Aaron Rodgers Enigma.
He is an enigma.
I don't know when this is coming out, but I will definitely be watching.
I thought I saw November or December.
Ayahuasca season. Got it.
Yeah, we need Jim's opinion on this, and of course he's not here.
Yeah, that's why we think we get to slip it in here, boys. Next, we have an unlikely loss as the 49ers go down to the Vikings 23-17 in the Sam Darnold revenge game.
Yeah, I think I saw a clip of him in the locker room post game. It's like, yeah, that's why you don't effing cut me.
Mm-hmm. So he had everything coming in there. The 49ers are without Christian McCaffrey and have even more bad news as Deebo Samuel's going to be out at least a couple weeks with a calf strain.
Yeah, trouble in paradise.
It's not ideal. The Vikings, on the other hand, had a 96-yard touchdown reception from Justin Jefferson, who had a scare later in the ball game as he required major assistance to walk off the field. But KOC reported Monday that he's day-to-day and things are looking good for this weekend's matchup against the Texans.
My mom thinks he just had to use the restroom and was too afraid to say it, so he went off.
But pulling the Lamar Jackson?
Yep.
All right.
He's on her fantasy team, needless to say. That was what she liked. I said positive vibes only.
Vibes only. Next, in the overtime matchup, the Seahawks take down the Patriots 23-20. Seahawks are now 2-0, right, Alex?
Seahawks, yep. Well, that's what happens when you have a WE quarterback.
Get it in while you can, buddy. Get it in while you can.
Let me be.
Patriots were obviously very competitive in this game. It went to overtime. The Patriots had the first possession, I believe, and had to punt it away. But the Patriots 1-1 and competitive both weeks, and a time when we did not expect this from them as a team. Jacoby Brissett is guiding them to be in the game. Do we think that this is delaying the inevitable with Drake May, or is this going to be a Jacoby Brissett for the majority of this year?
The way they're playing now, I don't see Drake May getting in anytime soon.
I agree. I think they're going to let him develop a little bit more. Next, what an interesting game. The Giants are beaten by the Commanders 21-18 as the Giants. It's going to be all about what the Giants didn't do, how they screwed up, how things didn't go their way. Not about the Commanders doing anything great. This is going to be all shitting on the Giants. Giants kicker Graham Gano left the game due to hamstring injury on the opening kickoff. And this ultimately helped lead to the Giants becoming the first team in NFL history to score 3+ touchdowns, allow 0 touchdowns, and lose a football game in regulation because all the Commanders' points were on field goals. Furthermore,
Oh, you're talking
this
about
is
Steelers
made more interesting because the Giants came into the game down 1 player on their roster. They had 52 going into Friday, and it's a 53-man roster. Gano was on the injury report Saturday, which means they probably knew on Friday that he was hurt. For any reason, if we know that our kicker is hurt and we have an open spot, that we don't just bring somebody in just because.
My question is, can the punter at least kick a freaking extra point? I mean, we saw Boswell last week and punt the ball in Atlanta. I mean, granted, I think punting's a lot easier to do than kicking.
But and an extra point's not what an extra point used to be.
No, but I feel like most punters and most kickers have experience doing one or a little bit of the other.
Maybe not those.
I mean, heck, you even see Justin Reed with the Chiefs kick the ball every once in a while. Yeah. And he plays safety.
I don't know. But they went for 2 on all of their touchdowns and were not successful. At this point, Steelers kicker Chris Boswell is outscoring the New York Giants this season 25-14 as well.
The only win that I have this season.
The only what?
The only win that I have this season.
And
Chris Boswell.
Oh, Chris Boswell. Chris Boswell is also outscoring another team, and that would be the Carolina Panthers.
Who is it?
I think every kicker in the league is probably outscoring them aside from their own
exactly.
kicker. Aside from their own kicker. As the Chargers take them down 26-3, and it has finally happened. The Panthers announce on Monday that Bryce Young is being benched for Andy Dalton. The Red Rocket returns.
Someone brought this up as like a surprise. I'm like, they're so bad. Like, I'm not surprised by this, personally.
Something had to happen. You don't think it's
I saw a thing that they were showing. You could have bought tickets to this game for like $180.
Yeah, each.
Yeah. And not $180, people. $1.80.
Yeah. It was interesting. So we'll see what happens moving forward with the Panthers, but it's not looking positive in Carolina. The Browns take down the Jags 18-13. The Browns get the win and are undefeated in games when Jameis Winston takes a snap for Cleveland. Just a fun fact, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, I saw a thing that said too, I can't remember what player it was. I want to say it was Ford, the running back, that every time Jameis comes in to call a play, it's like he's got a surprise to tell everybody.
Which I can just hear him talking. Okay, guys, you ready? We got 45, split right, and
the quarterback.
And we're gonna eat a W. Ready on 5, break.
It's like, all right, guys, here's the play. We're gonna run the ball, and you're gonna get it.
So the Browns take that. I didn't watch any of this game. No idea what happened. All I know is that Jags tight end Evan Ingram, who's on one of my fantasy teams, suffered a hamstring injury in pregame warmups and didn't play. So the injury bug is getting a little bit of everybody so far.
You think it's cause of all these guys not playing preseason?
I was gonna bring that up at some point.
I mean, these are soft tissue injuries. That would be correct, Alex?
Yeah. I mean, muscular injury.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely think that can be attributed to, your body not being fully prepared.
Yeah. I mean, it's much more likely, like a broken bone has nothing to do with whether or not you were prepared. That's just unfortunate.
Right.
Like, I shouldn't say nothing to do, but very little compared to a pulled hammy, pulled
calf strains, quads.
Yes.
Right.
That stuff to me is more a lack of preparation, but you're not like warm.
Right. You're not battle ready. That's how I think about it. Like you have not allowed your body to rev up enough to go into pushing it to the extremes.
Yep.
Next, the Baltimore Ravens are now 0-2. And is it panic time in Baltimore as the Raiders take them down 26-23, even though the Raiders only had 27 yards rushing?
Yeah.
Vontae Adams, Gardner Minshew, figuring it out. Brock Bowers, big contributor in this game. And the Ravens just couldn't figure this game out. They couldn't capitalize. Isaiah Likely was nowhere to be found most of the game. Derrick Henry, I think, was ineffective for the majority of this game as well. Is it time to hit that panic button in Baltimore, Alex?
I don't know that I hit the panic button 2 games in. I mean, you still have the same team you've had for a while, basically. You just need to get them clicking on the same, firing on the same cylinder. But something is wrong because you still got Lamar Jackson. And realistically, with Lamar Jackson, you should be able to win games, period. So to be 0-2, I think you're saying, what are we missing? What are the pieces that are causing us problems and working from there? But I wouldn't say full-blown panic button. I would say you've gotten the panic button out of the closet, but you haven't hit it yet.
Nate?
I think the case to the button is unlocked. And the lid is slowly opening.
Okay.
But I don't think they're quite there yet. I mean, I think that you can attribute some of this to the hangover loss to Kansas City on opening night. Yeah, this is a game that theoretically the Ravens should have easily won.
Right. In Baltimore, there was somebody on the chain gang that had to receive CPR on the sidelines during the game. Was later carted off, gave the thumbs up sign.
After CPR?
Yeah, apparently
like chest compressions?
Yeah,
there's video. You can see the guys doing it.
Yep.
Good for him, giving freaking thumbs up.
Yep. Whoever it was gave the thumbs up. I think this is time that we recognize chain gang member safety with NFL and Roger Goodell.
Got lit up by Justin Fields.
Yeah, and what is it with all these chain gang guys that everybody's in their elderly? Like, what is it? Like, take grandpa to the NFL game day?
But I don't know why we're not using that hawk cam or whatever they were going to call it.
Spit on that thing.
I mean, really, all that. I mean, even like the high school game, for most intents and purposes, it's just there for a visual. We're not really like. I don't think in my career, now that I'm going to say this, I'm going to freaking jinx myself. I don't think I've had but maybe 1 or 2 measurements. This is my 7th season.
Yeah.
That's because you're very good. You have a Hawkeye.
No, it's because we play on turf. Where it gets tricky, because it's not like these NFL fields where the field is perfectly level. A lot of these high school fields that still have grass have that hump in the middle of the field. So sometimes you look across the field, it's like, all right, are we short or are we good? Because you can't even see the shoes of the guys on the other side of the field.
Yeah. Yep. They do have those natural grass fields in and around. I don't think it's a High Valley thing. I think it's an everywhere thing.
Yeah.
So we only had 3 games in the afternoon slate this week. First one was the Cardinals taking down the Rams 41-10 as Maserati Marv records his first pair of receiving touchdowns to go along with 130 total yards. But his soundbite of the week was that he was mad that Kyler's only incompletions, which there were only 4 of them on the day, were to Marvin Harrison Jr. when he was targeted.
Now, why would he be upset by this? Were they like drops or?
I don't think they were
his way in.
He was just like, I didn't come down with them, so Kyler would have been perfect on the day if not for me.
Oh, I was like, because honestly, I was pumped about. I don't even like Ohio State at all. Like literally, I hope they lose every game. And the only reason I hope they lose every game is Jim. So he's not here to defend himself. I can get that out.
Alex is puffing out his chest today.
No, I'm just being honest. Like I hope they lose every game because Jim. And if he didn't talk so much crap on WVU and their team, I wouldn't care as much. But But either way, putting that aside, Marv's coming out was exciting. I was excited. Like that was cool. Like his first quarter with like 140 yards or something, 2 touchdowns, it was like 3 or 4 catches. I mean, like he was blowing it up. And that was exciting. So hats off to him. Good stepping in. Uh I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, your incompletions were to him, but like I don't necessarily remember many. Like I watched Red Zone, so I didn't see every play, but I don't know how bad the quote unquote drops were. But
Like I said, I don't even know if they were drops.
that's what I mean. They went and used misses. I mean, yeah, I thought he had a good coming out party.
Was. Unfortunately, on the other side of this, Cooper Kupp was out of the game with an ankle injury, and he's going to be out extended time. Adding again to the fantasy owner woes of this past week, is this also an ant problem, Alex?
This is, I don't know. An ankle injury is
No,
not.
is Cooper Kupp on your ants team?
Oh no, he's on my team.
Oh, okay.
He's on my team, so I'm happy about that.
Okay.
I'm a Cooper Cup owner. No, she has, Tua,
Everybody
Debo,
else.
Isaiah Pacheco.
Everybody else
Basically,
is
anyone
out.
else who's hurt, AJ Brown, they're on her team.
I don't know. It's not a good time to be a Rams fan right now. Your number 1 and number 2 receiver are hurt.
Yeah.
I saw a list of like some other guys they have on IR or who are hurt, and it's like holy mackerel.
Spoiler alert for the betting episode. Whoever the Rams play, take them.
Okay. Next, the Steelers improved to 2-0 as they take down the Broncos 13-6. Just another win for the Steelers as they stay atop the AFC North. Afterwards, Najee Harris came out and said that it's not conservative play that's happening with the Steelers and the play calling that's leading to low touchdown totals, aka 1 touchdown in the first 2 games, but still 2-0. But the offense shooting themselves in the foot. And that would be, I think, paraphrasing because I think he said more harsh words.
Shot at Broderick Jones.
Definitely part of that. Definitely part of that discussion, 100%. But the Steelers' defense rules again. They got lucky. Well, they were lucky enough to pick off Bo Nix in the end zone when the Broncos were driving. But aside from that, the Steelers dominated the defensive side of the ball versus the Broncos offense. Alex?
So I was super pumped in the first half of this game because I was like, look, the Steelers offense. If the Steelers have an offense, we are a good team. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So the first half, we looked like a good team. I was like, nobody is going to beat us. We're going undefeated. We're winning a Super Bowl. That's how I felt the first half of that game. And the second half, I was like, okay, remember, you're the Steelers. And we're settled back in to where, like, okay, our defense will do what it have to do. And we'll get it done.
And they did.
And that was it. I mean, it is the offense shooting himself. I mean, and I don't like to call out one person, but Broderick Jones on that, he had like 2 or 3 penalties on that one drive with the George Pickens catch. That's a difference maker. I mean, add 7 to that and make this a 20-6 game, and that's a whole different score. And
It is, in fact, a different score, Alex. You're correct.
I knew you were gonna say
Great
something.
analysis, Alex.
Well done, John. Way to get it, Madden.
I knew you were gonna say that, but you know what I mean.
Boom.
It feels different.
That's what she said.
God. Speaking of what she said, Taylor Swift said,
Just so you
"Hit
know,
him,
that was
Travis, and the Chiefs come from behind to take down the Bengals 26-25 thanks to a Harrison Butker last-minute field goal. But a lot of the drama had to do with Jamar Chase in this game as he drew an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty early in the fourth quarter that resulted in a field goal for the Chiefs that ultimately could have been the difference. Along with that, Jamar Chase, who's obviously trying to get more money, he also has said he has no plans to negotiate a long-term deal with the Bengals during the season, believing the franchise misled him during the offseason. Later, it was reported and further reported that the Bengals offered him a 4-year, $140 million contract that he turned down which would have been the same numbers that Justin Jefferson is getting at the moment over 4 years. The only thing we don't know is how much would have been guaranteed, which I think Justin Jefferson's 110 million guaranteed.
Well, and didn't he have a quote before the season or even last week where he said that if he wanted to beat Jefferson, he wouldn't do it by pennies or whatever? Like, it's just going to be a big pissing contest of who can make more money.
It is.
And that's what he wants to do, is he wants to be the highest paid.
Yeah, and I just don't know if if he continues to play like this, if he's going to get that type of contract.
He didn't do anything today to make him comparable.
No,
not this week.
I heard or saw somewhere too, they said the last Bengals player to get an extension done during the season or before their deal was up or whatever was Andrew Whitworth, got a 1-year extension.
That's been a bit.
Yeah.
The injury bug also comes through in this game, as Isaiah Pacheco, as Alex has already mentioned, is slated to miss significant time due to a fractured fibula.
No bueno.
The Chiefs brought in Kareem Hunt.
That is not a weight-bearing bone.
Thank you, Alex. The Chiefs did bring in Kareem Hunt for a visit today, Tuesday, or are going to bring him in for a visit today, Tuesday. So there's a potential option to place that in there. And the Chiefs have now become complacent or become, I guess, accepting of the fact that Hollywood Brown is now probably going to miss months, not weeks, as originally reported, with his shoulder injury recovery.
Well, and it's just going to be like everything else, like how the Chiefs just magically turn it on at the end of the year. It's like, yeah, so not only are they probably going to do that, now they're going to add him.
Yep. At the end of the year, as things are starting to, kind of, oh, what's going to happen? And they bring in like 2 weapons.
Yeah.
Pacheco and Brown come back.
Yeah. And here comes Brown with fresh legs.
Right. So we'll see. There was a questionable pass interference call in this one that people were saying meant that the fix was in for the Chiefs. After additional discussion and review, I would say from the Monday morning quarterbacks and the talk shows, I think most people were on board that it was a legit pass interference call.
Yeah, I saw a highlight of this play. I definitely thought it was a legit pass interference. The flag was just a little late.
Yeah.
But you'd rather have it late and be right than no flag at all.
I agree.
Right is right, because if you have it wrong, even if it's late, early, whatever, people are going to come back and watch it on Monday morning to see that. You know what I mean? I'd rather.
Yeah, I mean, and then watching it again, even in slow-mo, full speed, it's clear as day the guy got there early.
We'll see. Chiefs take it down, improve to 2-0 in Sunday nightcap. Jim's new team, the Texans, take on and take down the Bears 19-13, as Caleb Williams has another shaky start to start out his NFL career. And the Texans hold on to this one in a game that Jim, late into the night hours on Sunday, texted the group and said that the NFL was soft. And I have no idea what prompted
Can we talk
this.
about this? He does this at the weirdest times. He'll send like NFL rigged. And then like 4 hours later, after he sends it at like 2 a.m, and I'm like, hey, why is the NFL rigged? He's like, I don't know. I was just feeling it.
That was the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I had the timeline build up. That was the Chiefs.
Sorry. I'm not apologizing. I'm saying to my point that I would like to know why is the NFL rigged and why is the NFL soft?
I don't know. Because Caleb Williams is in the NFL. That's probably Jim's response. So the NFL soft. He probably got some type of call.
Well, he has a good reason.
What's that?
I said as long as he has a good reason.
I don't know. He's not here to defend himself today.
So I'm not. You're telling me I'm not supposed to be saying
no, I just don't know what the reasons were. You can speculate all you want. I just don't have an explanation. Moving into Monday Night Football, the Falcons are taking on the Eagles. The Eagles come into this game without A.J. Brown. He's out with a hamstring injury. What is the live look-in, Nate?
Right now, live look-in, the Falcons are driving, and we are at the 2-minute warning with the Eagles leading 7-3.
Okay, Falcons sticking in the game, much like they did last week against the Steelers. Anything else NFL related, gents?
Nothing specific.
They show they're going to be 2 Monday night games next week.
Ooh, that's exciting, I think. All right. That brings us into college football week 3. We're gonna rip this Band-Aid off real quick, Alex. Tell us about the Backyard Brawl.
Wasn't good. Next. I mean, this hurt in my soul. I get rid of Neil Brown. The climb is over. I'm not trusting it. It's over. You had enough time to climb. You lost. And if you'd have come out and played a hard ass game against Penn State and lost, I might have given you grace. But you didn't. You looked bad. You came out and beat Albany. Good for you. And you came out. You had Pitt on the ropes. I mean, you had the win in the backyard brawl for all intents and purposes. And you played soft, and you played weak, and you played not to win, but you played not to lose. And I don't want to coaching my team that year in and year out, you get in a big game, you get down to crunch time, and you play not to lose over and over and over and over and over again. I can't freaking stand it anymore. You're done. I like you as a guy. You seem like a great guy. I hope you're nothing but the best in life, but get the hell out of my program.
I feel like Jim would probably be on board with you this week.
There's the soundbite of the week.
Get the hell out of here. WVU takes on Kansas this week, and Alex and I will be present.
We will be. And this is a new season. New season.
New week, new season, huh?
It is. I read something online. It rejuvenated me. There's a part of me, I'm like, why the did I buy season tickets to this season when we're going to look like dog shit over and over and over again because we got to coach you soft? And then I thought about it. And someone said that the first 3 games are kind of like the preseason. We could go undefeated in the Big 12 from here on out and get a home playoff game. And that's what we're playing for, starting this Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm in, balls to the wall, hail to West Virginia, let's go. Because that's it. You got to be a true fan, and that's what I am. I'm a true fan. Win or lose, we still booze. We're there. We're ready to go. Let's go.
Okay. Alex is all about it. I will be next to Alex, making sure that this win or lose, we still booze is done with some level of moderation. Maybe. Find out. We will find out. This week, Ohio State, who is idle, plays Marshall.
Yeah, get to West Virginia team.
It
Dude, me and my dad were talking about it. How funny would it be? And I don't expect it to happen. Like, full realism, don't think this is going to happen at all. But if Marshall were to go in and beat Ohio State, if Marshall were to go in and knock off Notre Dame, and then to go around and beat Ohio State, upset team of the century?
Maybe the decade.
Decade.
Century's got a lot of years left.
That's true.
Maybe the early.
Well, I'm starting from
early
here
entrant.
back. No, I'm just kidding.
Early entrant.
But we were laughing. We're like, that would be funny. Like, just because around here, notoriously, people don't like Notre Dame or they're diehard Notre Dame. They don't like Ohio State or they're diehard Ohio State. And it was funny. We all laughed. We loved it when Marshall beat Notre Dame. And I was like, how funny would it be if it turned around and Marshall beat Ohio State? Like I said, don't expect that. Don't put words in my mouth. But it would be funny. I'm rooting for Marshall.
Okay. Next, Penn State's taking on Kent State.
Poor Kent State. I mean,
well, we may as well
you
just
let Tennessee and then Penn State.
Tennessee was trying to run the clock out on him.
Yeah.
Hey, at least Penn State or Kent State's going to get some money for their program, right?
That's 2 weeks in a row. I bet they're getting some dollars. And before we get into top 25, we would be remiss if we did not say that Colorado beat Colorado State 28-9. Shedeur Sanders refused to shake hands with Colorado State's quarterback following Colorado State's quarterback quote of, "We'll see how far IG followers get them," leading into the game. Do we think this was a warranted action by Sanders to not shake the hand?
No, I think that was BS.
No, I mean, you can bring it up and talk shit after the game, but then you know what? It's us, Sanders, so I expect nothing less. Could we just make a motion to no longer bring up Colorado?
No, the motion has already been dismissed. We will continue to bring up Colorado. I actually am a little bit more on Shedeur Sanders' side this time because Colorado State was talking so much trash, not just their quarterback. They were all in on this for no good reason. Colorado State had already lost like a game in week 1 by like 40 or 50. Like, I don't know why they thought that they were in a position to just say all of these things and put all this quotable material out there whenever they had no leg to stand on. So I'm actually more so on the side of Shedeur Sanders this time for being like, nah, like, not even gonna try to mess with you right now. I'm gonna come say
No,
hi
but
to
you
you,
can
but I'm
just
not gonna
shake his
shake your
hand and
hand.
move on.
I'm not about this one. Not about this one. I'm okay with what he did this time.
I'm not. Ever.
But-
With your hand.
See, that's the thing. Ever,
Walk away
Alex.
the
We
bigger
already know.
guy.
We already know how you feel about.
Walk away the bigger guy then. Shake his hand and move on.
Or just walk away.
No, shake his hand and move on.
And go sing your rap.
You're not shaking his hand. If you just shaking his hand and kept walking and not engaged, no one would be talking about you.
Yeah, they would because they would say he didn't engage.
No, I don't believe that.
Alex, you would find a way for this to be a problem.
I wouldn't.
So you would?
Nope.
Okay. Lies. In top 25 action, number 1, Georgia survives by the skin of their dog teeth. The Kentucky Wildcats 13-12.
I wish I would have taken a snip or sent it in the group. It's like every time Georgia plays at Kentucky, they struggle. Something in the Kentucky bluegrass, or something in the water, or something in the bourbon. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. Yeah, I don't know. You've got like it's like a Florida swamp thing, aside from not this year. Where South Carolina has this in the SEC as well. Like there's always a game or two a year where they outplay themselves at home. So we'll see. Leading into this game, on another note, Georgia backup cornerback Daniel Harris was pulled over going 106 near College Station last Thursday night. Team has announced that no discipline at this time will be taken. When does something get done about all of these traffic violations and high speed issues that are happening with Georgia players?
I just don't get it. Like, is it a competition? Like, what's it gonna take? Is it gonna take a Henry Ruggs incident, or what? Like,
Well, they've already kind of had that, Nate.
right? But I mean, it's not to the extreme of like, oh yeah, Henry Ruggs goes to jail basically, and these Georgia guys are like, oh yeah, well they're off playing in the NFL, or yeah, they're still on the team.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I just wanted to bring
It's
that
like
up.
give all the athletes a driver's ed class or whatever. That way you can boost your team GPA.
I don't know if that's going to do it. I think they need like the tracking devices to see what's going on when they're not getting caught.
Uber or Lyft, get into the state of Georgia if you're not already. They need you.
They do. They do. Number 2, Texas takes down the Meat Meeps, the Roadrunners of University Texas San Antonio, 56-7. We have entered the Arch Manning era in Texas football.
Football.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how long is Quinn Ewers going to be out. I think they said it's going to be like week to week with an oblique. No rhyme intended there, but
week to week with the oblique. Either way, I mean, Arch Manning looked good. I mean, Texas didn't skip a beat.
They did not.
I mean, he does got that Manning blood, so
something in that blood and in the water. So we'll see where it goes from this. Alabama takes down Wisconsin 42-10. Wisconsin's quarterback went out in the first quarter with an injury, and Alabama just poured it on from there.
Yeah, I think I saw that quarterback is out for the season.
Yeah, he came out in like the full immobile cast situation, not cast, but he was all wrapped up. I was like, oh, that's bad. Ole Miss takes down Wake Forest 40-6 in a game that Jim was definitely excited about. Is this after the fact that Wake Forest bought out this contract, Nate?
I think it was before.
Okay.
Because I remember they were talking to Lane Kiffin about it, and he was basically being Lane about it, like, oh, yeah, whatever, they don't want to play us anymore.
Yeah, this was another game that Jim sent us a random text message. Had something to do with QB dives. I'm assuming with Jackson Dart, but just said QB dive and said that's a note for me in the text thread. So not sure what that was about. Wasn't watching the game. I know Jim was. He's a huge Jackson Dart supporter. Missouri wins against Boston College 27-21.
I think I'm back on my Missouri train that I was on last year.
I mean, they're not giving you any reason not to be yet.
I mean, I didn't want to jump on it right at the beginning of the year. Want to like feel it out, but they look pretty good.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that's just going to be like really quietly good.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the fact that Missouri was ranked number 6 just doesn't even seem right.
I mean, last year I jumped on them and it was kind of like the beginning quiet good. This year I can't really claim it. I mean, they were good last year, but I think I'm going to continue to ride with them.
Tennessee destroys Kent State, as we already talked about. There were reports that came out that said that Tennessee was willing to shorten the quarters in the second half or use some type of running clock. Kent State refused.
I mean, I don't blame them. At that point, you've gone that far. It's more embarrassing to say we shortened the game so we didn't lose so bad, you know?
I mean, at that point, too, it's like neither team's going to get anything out of this, even if you play second, third, walk on, whatever.
Yep. So we'll see what
Except
this looks
for
like in the
Kent
future
State's
for
players.
Tennessee. Kent State's players what?
Get to say, we got to play at Tennessee.
I mean, if they did it for 2 minutes or 60 minutes, they still got to play there, Alex.
We have an update from Aunt Missy's fantasy football team. She just sent a text with Jesus, you know what? Jesus Christ. And it's a screenshot that ESPN sent her that A.J. Brown is now expected to miss a couple of weeks. He's also on her team.
T's and P's, not messy T's and P's.
My sister answers, my God, your team is falling apart.
We have Oregon taking down Oregon State 49-14 in the Civil War. Oregon finally, I think, plays to the potential that people were hoping to see.
Not a fan of having rivalry games this early in the year.
Yeah, it's different, I will say. But this is also the bed that we've come to find with conference realignment.
Right.
Miami takes down Ball State 62-0. Moving on to Utah, taking down Utah State in another in-state rivalry, 38-21. No Cam Rising, correct?
Not sure, but I believe so. Did he get hurt last week?
Yeah, his non-throwing hand hitting off a water cooler.
Smart.
No, he didn't do it purposefully.
Oh.
Being tackled out of bounds or something, I believe.
Oh, I remember that clip now.
Yeah. Oklahoma State takes down Tulsa 45-10.
Finally, a solid win.
Solid win for the Big 12.
Really, I needed this out of Oklahoma State. Like you're a Big 12 hope. You, Kansas State, and WVU. So like, I needed a solid win out of Oklahoma State. And spoiler alert for the next game, Kansas State.
Okay. Kansas State takes down Arizona 31-7.
Oklahoma. I think this one kind of surprised a little bit. I thought Arizona would put up more of a fight.
Yeah, this was a Friday night game. I watched, I think, the first half. Arizona's offense is go, go, go. I think it's literally called the go-go offense. Up to the ball quick. Almost, I think they were kind of equating it to like unorganized football, like on the playground type of stuff, where there's route concepts maybe, but there's no specific plays that you're running every single time. A lot of option stuff, I think. Option routes. Oklahoma takes down Tulane 34-19.
I don't know if they even covered that. I mean, Tulane's been one of the better group of fives lately, but I don't know. I would think just based on program prestige, I would think Oklahoma should have won that more.
LSU comes back all the way back and beats South Carolina 36-33. LSU was down 17 points at one time in this game.
It keeps the college game day streak alive of everywhere they've been this year, the home team has lost.
Remember that, Alex. Where are they? Are they Oklahoma this week?
Yep.
Ooh. Get pumped.
Betting show, anti-Oklahoma.
What's that?
Betting show, anti-Oklahoma.
There you go, anti-Oklahoma. The Wolverines of Michigan win against Arkansas State, 28-18.
Ain't look good.
Does not look good. I agree. We're going to see what happens to Michigan once they start getting into Big Ten play here. We'll see what goes down. Notre Dame puts an absolute shellacking on Purdue, 66-7. Notre Dame, I think, was taking out a lot of frustration in this one.
I was just about to say that too.
I was going to say that reminds me of like all the TikToks and memes you see of people playing NCAA or Madden Live or whatever, and they run up the score and you just hear 100-0.
Yep, they did it in real life on this one. And the last ranked matchup of the weekend saw Nebraska take out Northern Iowa 34-3. And that's the week that was. A couple things outside of that. Mississippi State paid Toledo $1.2 million to beat them 41-17 over the last weekend. And Florida State moves to 0-3 after a loss to Memphis, in which Memphis was paid $1.3 million. So Florida State, I think, became the 8th or 9th team to start out in the top 10 and lose their first 3 games. I did not expect to see that many instances of that occurring.
No, I agree.
And my question for Florida State is, when do you move on for DJ Uyunglele?
Now.
Yeah, should have been last week. So we're not going to get too much into the AP rankings at this point, but we'll look into some ranked matchups for next week. We have Illinois traveling to Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers, USC coming into the Big House to take on Michigan, Utah traveling to Oklahoma State, and Tennessee, Oklahoma in the game day game. I think we already know where our thoughts are going to be in that one.
I mean, I know what my thoughts were prior to hearing that, but
even more so now.
But I think with these new conference realignments, it's just odd to see some of these matchups in the regular season.
Yeah. There was, this week, I noticed it this week, and I think it happened in week 1 as well, where you had in-conference games being counted as out-of-conference matchups based on conference realignment.
I was just going to say that, yeah, because they were scheduled prior to conference realignment, so they in turn counted as a non-conference matchup.
Right.
So do you think any of these fall in that category or no?
What do you do at the end of the season?
This week, USC, Michigan, potentially. Maybe that's the only one I can think about. But no, it's week 3, so we're starting to see this already. I'm going to say that I think we may be past that now.
But you see that, like end of the season comes down and you're trying to rank people. Do you have to, how hard is it to just ignore that?
Well, you don't ignore it. It's just not an in-conference game.
Yeah, but if you're talking conference seeding.
What do you mean seeding in the conference? There's no seeding in the conference.
Right. Well, I'll say, isn't there some conferences where they have divisions or whatever? So it might come down to like, like so-and-so won one more conference game because the game early in the year didn't count.
That's what I'm thinking. And then you're like, wait, but that was a non-conference game.
Right. I get that, but I guess it would still count as a head-to-head game if they're within the same division or in the same conference, right?
You have to.
All right, let's get to our winners and losers of the week. We will start out with Jim, who shared that his winners were Tennessee and Ole Miss for being dogs and handling their business. And his losers were Florida State because they suck.
Very well said, Jim.
Nate, what do you got?
For me, the losers this week are the Mountain West, and kind of foreshadowing here, but the Mountain West is going to be losing all the state schools, and basically Fresno State, Colorado State, Boise State, and San Diego State, all planning to leave the conference to join the Pac-12. And for me, my winner is Arch Manning. Comes off the bench at a moment's notice and shines, even though it's against an inferior opponent. And I think all it's going to do is just drive his stock up to either transfer or to push Quinn Ewers for playing time.
Bingo. Alex, I'll go since you're still messing with some stuff there. My winners this week are all the couches. All the couches that did not get to see the flame
Muff.
because the Pittsburgh Panthers take down
Muff. You're a
the
WVU fan.
Mountaineers. I'm a WVU season ticket holder. I'm not
From
a
here on out,
fanatic.
you're
I'm not a
WVU.
fanatic. I'm a supporter.
From
How
here
about
on
that?
out, you're a WVU fan.
I'm a supporter.
Don't start.
I'm just surprised, or maybe I just got lucky because I was at this game and I actually ran into some non-assholish Pitt fans for the most part. Because you would think, oh, big rivalry game or whatever, blah, 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 whatever. I think on the way out, I think I only had like one person say something like, give me a pat on the shoulders. I'm walking by. I'm like, dude, who the hell are you?
I think that's more us. I think we're the assholes.
Oh, for sure. But
and I'm okay with that.
but no, like even
You
like
you guys get all kinds of sports.
I mean, like even in the parking lot or whatever, like my uncle had like this whole huge cooler full of alcohol or whatever, and like people were coming up, or he's like basically giving it away.
Yeah.
And the one guy's like, "Oh, can I get whatever out here?" I go, "Yeah, what do you want?" And I hand it to him. He goes, "Wait, we're not supposed to like each other right now."
Everybody loves each other when people are getting free beer.
Yeah. Then he looks at me, and then he looks at his watch and goes, "Yeah, I guess we can like each other for the next 3 hours."
My losers this week are all of the Mullets in Texas, with Quinn Ewers going out of that game, and I have a feeling this is starting the Arch Manning era. And the Mullets in Texas are losers. Alex?
Well, my loser. It's WVU. It's Neil Brown. I'm not gonna get back on it again, but it's you guys know. You already listen. You know my losers. My winners. Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee looks dang good. You're gonna take a good team to beat them. So Tennessee, I like them. I'm gonna stay on them strong, and I'm gonna give Kentucky a winners this week because they kept it closer than most people have with Georgia in the regular season. So good on you, Kentucky.
All right. That wraps up the winners and losers for this week, which brings us into other interesting news in sports.
I was gonna let Nate go for it, but other interesting news in sports.
I'm just as excited as Jim does when we do this. In the UFC, they had I forget which number this is, but they had Fight Night in the Sphere, and it apparently is going to be up for an Emmy, a Grammy, and an Oscar. The pay-per-view card, yes.
As someone with a degree in theater,
They had produced content which included original scored music. It was a thing, Alex. It was a thing. They're up for everything but a Tony because they're not on Broadway.
Go for an ESPY then. They deserve an ESPY.
Well, the EGOT doesn't include an ESPY.
Well, I don't want. They aren't going to
Well,
get.
we'll make it an EGOT.
What's that?
EGOT.
What is it?
We'll just put an S on it. Then we'll make it.
I got you. I thought you were saying
That's EGOT.
EGOS. But anyway, this pay-per-view card ends with Sugar Sean O'Malley losing his title to Ramab Dervalishvili over the weekend.
God bless you.
I think I said that pretty good. And apparently, this was a celebration of Mexican independence, which, for all the casuals, I think they're coming to learn that's not Cinco de Mayo.
What?
Say what?
Yeah, apparently the Mexican Independence Day is in September.
Good to know.
So
you know, have an extra day to celebrate.
I don't know.
This sounds like a margarita day again.
I think you just added another day to the calendar for all the casuals. The Pac-12 is not dead yet, or at least not just yet. Nate, go forth.
So, as I mentioned in my losers, the Mountain West, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State are all set to join the Pac-12 conference in 2026. With the other two remaining schools, Washington State and Oregon State, they only need two more schools to be recognized and regained FBS conference status, in which they will change their name to the Pac State Conference. Because I'm like thinking, what other schools can they grab? They can grab North Dakota State, they can grab South Dakota State, Utah State, San Jose State, Sacramento State.
At that point, yeah, you're right. Pac State. I'll give it.
I just thought that was odd. I'm like, man, they really have every freaking state school.
Yeah, they're getting them. Hey, whatever makes it work. But I'm assuming we're going to continue to see news about what will become of the Pac throughout this year.
But yeah, I just think this is the beginning of the end for Mountain West.
Yeah,
especially when you lose Boise and you lose Fresno.
Yeah,
or probably two of the most recognizable brands in that conference.
Yep, I agree. The beginning of the end. It is the beginning of the end of the WNBA season, but we have records abound as Caitlin Clark sets the WNBA single season assist record and the rookie single season scoring record within the past week, but is overshadowed by the Vegas Aces superstar Asia Wilson, who becomes the first WNBA player to score over 1,000 points in a season. I think the playoffs are coming up within the next week or two. I think their season ends pretty much by the end of September.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think and late next week, maybe.
Yeah, they have a much shorter postseason than the NBA. Thank God, because the NBA is just way too long.
Sure, I lose interest.
Yeah. All right, Nate, tell us what's going on in the hockey world.
So, news in the hockey world today, and for us Yinzers, Sidney Crosby signs a 2-year extension with the Pens. So he will be in the black and gold through the 2026-2027 season. And then something I saw after last week's episode, former NHL and Olympic gold medalist goalie Roberto Luongo found an ad apparently online for a beer league team who needed a goalie, and he answered the call.
I saw this. It was awesome.
And he shows up and they defeat the 5-time defending champs of this beer league by a score of 4-2, which raises the question: how was he trying? Like, could he have gotten a shutout for shits and gigs?
Probably.
Like, was he just like playing along and letting? If you look good coming in, you gotta go.
Like, he just comes in there is like messing around these guys like in the butterfly, making all these kick saves and whatever, and showboating a little bit, then just whatever lets another like a feel good goal in or whatever.
I saw him come in I saw the video of him coming like in the locker room or whatever.
Right, and they're probably like, "Who the hell is this guy with the Florida Panthers practice jersey?"
I know, they were like, "What?"
Yeah, because goalie's like the last person you recognize typically, right? Is somebody underneath the helmet. But right, maybe he let in 2 goals because he really took the beer league thing to heart here. Maybe he showed up and like pounded a 12-pack.
I don't know, but could you just imagine like pregame, like not knowing it's him for the other team, and you see this guy come out and it's like, wait a minute, that's like a legitimate practice sweater. What the hell is that? And then you see him take his helmet off, because I'm sure those guys, if they're playing beer league hockey, they probably know more NHL guys than we would.
Right.
And they probably see him take his helmet off on the bench and taking a drink of water, like, holy shit, that's Roberto Luongo.
Damn it. He's on the other team.
It's like, well, guys, cancel the reservations.
And we have some baseball news this week as the Washington Wild Things fall to the Quebec Capitals in 4 games in a best-of-5 series. As Nate put it very eloquently, at least we had one local Western PA team give us some hope. But just so we know, the Pirates are the best last-place team in Major League Baseball. But
we're the best worst team.
The best worst team. But doesn't look like they're going to improve upon much, if at all, on last year's win total.
Hey, just look at it this way. We are past the midpoint of September, and they are not mathematically eliminated yet.
It's because of the best last place teammates.
I'm just saying. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year it would be mid-September and we're not out of the playoff race yet, I would not have believed it for a moment.
No, you're right. There's just so much hope. There's just so much hope going into August. It's all just dashed so quickly. There are teams in worse spots though than the Pirates this year. The White Sox, with 12 games left, need at least 7 wins to avoid the most losses by a Major League Baseball team in the modern era, which is 1901, if I remember correctly. Similarly, the Angels, with 13 games left, need to win at least 7 games to avoid having the most losses in their franchise's history. As luck would have it, these teams are going to play each other 6 times over the final games of their season.
So if there ever was a toilet bowl series, this would be it.
This is it. 110%. So it could be worse.
Before we got out of baseball real quick, I'm pretty sure I sent this, but I didn't add it to the notes. But did anybody else see the minor leaguer for, I don't remember what organization it was, but I think he was in single A and he was tipping pitches to the opposing team because he wanted the season to end.
I think I do remember you sending that, and that was I just missed it too. Putting in here to chat about, but that's hilarious that's the reason why.
And I mean, they obviously immediately released him,
Right?
but it's like, how low is low? It's like you've probably been working at this your whole life to make it to professional baseball, and you're in minor leagues. And I saw they had like a 6 or 7 game lead going into the final month of the year, and the team just tanked. And he's like, I just want the season to be over. Hey, fastball.
Rip it, dude. Rip it. And lastly this week, former West Liberty University men's basketball star and College of Charleston player in last year's NCAA tournament, Bryce Butler, returns to the Hilltop as an assistant basketball coach for the Hilltoppers.
I think that's going to be really good for them.
Should be a positive situation. So we'll see how their season gets going. I think they have media day coming up this week. So you can see more about the team that will be this year on the men's and women's sides. But that wraps up this week's episode of Sports Stuff without Jim and Muff. Or as Nate said it,
Without Jim, just Muff.
That's Alex said it. Without Jim, just Muff. Remember, you can follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Remember to get involved, get engaged, because the only way for us to keep going up, 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 and away is to tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.